Kenai for the Kenai. Today we have another 1 year later story for you today. We're meeting back up with one of our favorites, one of our homies. Billy's back with us today to talk about his 1 year later. Actually, it's more than a year later, though. So last time we met was July of 2018, so it's about a year and a half ago, a full year and a half ago by the time this actually gets out. And so there's been some big things in the last year that have been happening, right?
Oh yeah, what was it, August?
Yeah, August, July, something like that.
I remember it was almost October, and I got into a relationship that time, and they always warned us never to get into a relationship.
Oh man!
Like a year before your year, and I did. And at that time, I made this person my higher power, to be honest. I was going to meetings, but I wasn't praying or anything. I wasn't putting the 12 steps into my life, applying it into my life. And what I've learned in recovery, I stopped doing that. And from there, August until October 27, I ended up relapsing. And I remember they always say your relapse happens before you even drink. So it was a week before that. Because I remember a week prior, I was thinking of drinking, and that attitude was coming, like all the character defects. And I remember when my little brother was trying to smuggle booze to the village for my stepdad, and I remember taking the backpack and throwing it in a closet instead of the fucking garbage. And I remember when I took the ball, at first it was in the back, and he was I was bringing him from Anchorage to Kenai, and he told me there was water there. And I remember I told him to go to my apartment, wait for me, and I was in my truck, literally trying to decide if I should drink it right now. It's like, shit, should I drink it tonight? But my little brother's here, though. He knows I'm sober. So I just waited until he left. And when he left, for like 5 days, when he was there for 2 days, I drank very bad. And for the last 5 days, I kept on going back and forth to that closet where the bottle was. And I remember they always say that insanity will return then to drink. And I was getting insane and crazy, and end up moving one bottle from the closet to the refrigerator. I left it in there. Kept on going back and forth to that for a couple of days. Even if I had solutions, but that disease already had been gripped. Because they always say alcohol is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And I remember day October 27th, I remember scared. I'm never going to forget that feeling. I remember I was crying, trying to decide if I should kill myself or drink. I had a lot of pills and a bottle. Ended up just drinking instead. And I woke up the next day, October 28th. That's my new sobriety date of last year. I remember waking up crying, so disappointed, and like, man, all that 8 months gone. Shit. And there was 2 more bottles in the refrigerator, and I took the decision to drink or go to a meal. But I was leaning towards a drink in my head. And it was about 10:53. I was still crying and trying to decide if I should drink, and I had a moment of clarity in my head. And I was like, God, have me the courage to call someone. And I remember thinking to myself, maybe if I drink this now, I'll feel better. And then a small voice came into my head, like, if I drink this now, it's going to feel a lot worse than it feels right now. So I called the person in the program and told him to pick me up for the meeting, and he picked me up. I told him I relapsed, and he said, it's all right, it happens. We're alcoholics. It always happens. I ended up going to this meeting, and it was a speaker meeting, and I remember hearing this person sharing, but I didn't remember what he said. The only thing I could hear was pray. And then 12:30 hit, and it was halftime. And I went to the bathroom and hit my knees and asked God, hey man, it's your life, my life's your life now, take over. Still to that day, I never stopped hitting my knees. And first month of coming back was very hard because I ended up getting a new sponsor who's exactly like my sponsor in Arizona, who was always pretty blunt about his answers and stuff.
Really direct.
Yeah, really direct and honest with me, like calling my out because he knew me. And I got him asked him to be my sponsor after a month, and there was all these challenges because I remember talking to him like, man, I relapsed after 8 months and still going to that self-pity. And he told me those relapses you just drank. Those 8 months you still have. The knowledge is still there. You know the solution. So technically, you already know where to go. And I remember talking to him, maybe I should go back to the Serenity House. You don't have to go to the Serenity House anymore. You don't have to go to treatment anymore. You know where the solution is at. It's in this book. And I took that to heart. And I didn't go back to treatment. And he told me it's like you're going to treatment, just going back there, doing the exact same thing, expecting different results. You're going to hear the same thing when you first went in.
You're going to learn all the stuff you already know.
Yeah. So I took that and was like, man, I already know what's happening. So I stayed in the rooms, took the suggestions seriously, and for about, I think, 3 months I was dealing with anger because I was getting irritated with people in the rooms, and I kept on asking a lot of questions. People with a lot of time and sobriety, even with people who have a year, and mostly people with a lot of time. Ask them a lot of questions like, how do you go through this? How do you beat this? And this person told me to pray for this person. Always pray for them because they're sick people too. And he said to me, if I can phrase it right, look at them as like they're a sick person. If someone's sick in a hospital, if they at you in the hospital, would you talk back at them? And they're like, no, I wouldn't. So I treated everyone like, I mean, not looking down on them or anything.
Right.
Just like they're sick people, and like I'm sick too. I'm also sick.
It's kind of the mindset you have to keep to show a lot of compassion.
A lot of compassion and stuff. Because I remember when I got here, I'm from a village and I'm native and all that stuff, and like no white people can help me. Like how are they can help a native? Until I didn't want to listen to them in the beginning when I first came in 2017, and now when I actually listen, all the stories are the same. It's like different culture but same story. And I started learning, like listening in these rooms, people with a lot of time listen to them, do their suggestions. And this whole year I'd say, was the best year I ever had. Even if there was a lot of troubles and trials, a lot of pain and sadness, but it was the best year I ever had. Because through the pains I went through family loss and all these things, that taught me how to move on. Because I asked people how they went through it.
Right.
And through that is experience, where I get to experience this, and this experience I can teach someone who's going through the exact same thing and tell them how I went through it and pass it on. And that's how I'm learning. It's recovery right now.
Yeah.
Even with normal people who don't have drug problems or anything, or alcohol problems, I help them too. And there was a lot of eye openers this year. A lot of family died from this disease. My family. There was one last week. One of my younger cousins, she was 18 years old, frozen outside. I don't know if she hit her head or something. She was drunk and hit her head. And a year ago, that would have bothered me big time. And through going through recovery, asking these people with a lot of time how they went through it, and one of my main guys I go to for grief is he has like 26 years of sobriety, and he also dealt with a lot of deaths in his family. And I asked him how he went through it. One of his deaths that impacted him was his grandpa. He was old, and what he said was, if I can phrase it right, he said to his grandpa, Grandpa, I don't want you to go, it's going to be sad. And he's like, hey, don't be sad when I'm gone. Because if you're sad here, I'm looking down at you, I'm going to be sad in heaven. And told him that, like, this place, earth is heaven. Once you learn how to deal with your problems and go through them and basically work on your insides, not the outside, how you see life. Inside is more important. You clear all your troubles and trials, make amends to people, and learn what's right and wrong, and you feel this peace inside. I feel today, and he told him it's just a little piece of heaven in here. It's like a new pair of glasses on. Each day we have a choice to put that glasses on. And how we see the world. Some days I don't feel like that.
Right. Sometimes you just want to leave those glasses off. Yeah, I feel that.
Some days I don't feel like that. I gotta learn how to like put myself on the right track. It's like prayer and meditation. I'm learning the meditation till this day. When I had about 10 months, I was going through this panic attack, and I was driving my buddy to the Serenity House, and I started feeling this panic in my head, and I'm panicking, I'm having a panic attack. And at 10 months, I thought about a drink. I was like, hey man, I know what can fix that, a drink. And instead of taking action on that thought, I was like, hey man, call my grand sponsor. He has like 31 years, and I say, man, can you meet me here? And he went to go meet me, and I was just trying to calm down and all that stuff, and he told me to sit down and relax, and he taught me how to meditate. How he taught me how to meditate was just keep breathing like 4 times, that box 4, whatever they call it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And he told me to go to a place in your childhood that made you feel happy or create a place. And this place is a white room and a white bench on there. And he asked me to sit down in this room and wait for someone to show up. It might be an animal or something. It might be anything. So I was just sitting there, and he was being quiet, and he told me to wait, and I was just being quiet, and I sat down, and I was waiting, and my dog that passed on a long time ago showed up. And he told me to ask, what did you bring me? What did you bring me? And the dog didn't say anything, but it said courage, like I felt courage. And I learned that, and I opened my eyes, and I was calm. And I still use that today. So far, a bunch of people showed my mom who passed away, and she brought love and all that stuff. And I don't know if it was God or someone, it was some random person showed up. And I don't know. And now today I look at death, family deaths, is different than how I used to look at it. Because I used to look at it as the world's ending, I'm going to be alone and forever. And that's my selfish side. That's what missing them and wanting them here is my selfish side. And I gotta remember they're God's children. They're just going home to a better place. And now today it's thank you God for putting this person into my life. Take care of me. And I just move on. Sometimes it is sad. I get sad every now and then, but that's normal. That's human beings.
Grief.
There's human beings to grieve for someone who's gone, and it's okay to cry. Oh yeah. And I'm learning that crying is basically your body's detoxing from anger, sadness, even happiness too. So crying's okay.
Yeah.
No
doubt.
Totally. This whole year's been the best year. Because I got to bond with my baby brother. Because I remember when I went to Phoenix, when I thought about a geographical change would change me. And it had to be inside work. But I remember flying over there, landing in Phoenix, and getting a text from my baby brother. Still hurts me today. What he said, I wish you were an alcoholic. And that got me thinking. So it makes me tear up sometimes. Every time I think about it. Because like in these rooms they always say moment of silence and reflect on why you're here. And that moment of silence I reflect on how I got here. And I remember coming back in the rooms, I was crying. And I can't forget that feeling, because that was the worst feeling that we felt. And when I got to make memories with my brother and making a living amends, we went to an NBA game. And he, when he was young, I made sure he was a Wade fan. He's a Wade fan, so he's been a Wade fan all his life. And we went to go see one of his last games in Portland. And I remember we were going in there, I had about 5 months sober, and we were sitting like close to the court. Mm-hmm. And there was a bunch of drinking around us, but that didn't bother me, because that obsession was gone in my head, that compulsion was gone in my head. I remember halftime, third quarter started, and Wade was on fire, and my brother was up there jumping and cheering and all that stuff, and I was just sitting down looking at him like, thank you, God. Like, thanks for keeping me sober. I remember it was an amazing feeling. But those memories right there are the best memories I have so far. And I'm not going to let that go. And it's thanks to being sober, continuing to be sober. And there's a lot more too that happened to one of my older brothers. He's my cousin, but his family took us in. I remember texting him when I got back to the rooms October 28th, and told him, like, man, I relapsed, and he told me, like, well, it's your fault. No compassion or anything, because I kind of pissed him off every time I drank. Every time I drank in my hometown, he'd go, you better not come back to the house. I'm going to kick your ass and all that stuff. And there's a lot of fights and stuff, and arguments every time I go home drunk or high. And he had a big resentment. And for this whole year, when I was going through the steps and going with my sponsor, every time I text him, I'd say, how you doing? For every month, how you doing, brother? How you doing? He's like, oh, what the hell you want? Started with that. The hell you want? The hell you want? And I think after 7 months, like, how you doing, brother? He's like, oh, I'm doing okay. It's doing good. And it started building up. And when he got to Anchorage, I got to see his little family. And I remember making amends to him. We were going to Flat Top, and we were up there with his little family. His girlfriend and his daughter went down the hill to the truck, and I remember we were up there and talking about our mom, my auntie, and I still call her mom, how she was. They were picking all this stuff, all the good memories. And I made amends to him. I told him I'm sorry for what I've done, man. And up there, when we were up there, he told me like how proud he was. Proud of me trying to change my life. And never once in our life, me and his life, we said I love you to each other. And at the moment, that was the first I love you from him. He's like, I just want you to know I love you. Now we end our texts like that. I love you, brother. I love you. And that's what I did. I did not do that. That was my higher power who I choose to call God. He did that. Because whatever happens in my recovery, anything good, it's not my doing. Because God did for me what I couldn't do for myself, was that He kept me sober. He got me sober. He repaired lives, repaired my life, repaired friendships, repaired bridges from family. And I'm grateful for that. And yeah, that's one of my favorite memories, those two memories, my little brother and my older brother. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to let that go. And my other brother, second oldest, he got his first kid, was October 28th, the day I got sober.
Oh my God.
I don't know if it's a God thing or not, because I remember waking up, when I told you I was crying and all that stuff, and God gave me courage to go to the meeting. I went to the meeting and I asked 2 old timers who had a lot of time if I could sleep at their place so I can gather up in my head, be in a safe place. And I went to their place and I was reading the book they gave me and praying. And around 4 or 5, my brother called me, "Hey, nephew's born, Walter's born." It's like, holy. And I didn't stay sober because of him. I'm staying sober because of I want to stay sober. And because they always say no human power could relieve me from this alcoholism, from this insanity. And it has to be us. Do it for ourselves. And it's just a selfish program, but you give a lot showing people how you can stay sober. And when I first met him was about a month ago. He came, my brother's Adrian, and we're pretty tight, because he's my actual brother, blood brother, and he's my older brother who I talked about was his family took us in, and we're grateful for that. And I don't know how my brother went through it our whole childhood, because he was all normal. And me, like, I mean, that everything family loss didn't bother him too much. Like,
or at least he dealt with it a little better.
Dealt with it a lot better.
Yeah.
Me, because it's all about me. I was like, what's happening in my life? And
you're unraveling, and he's just trying to hold everything together.
Yeah. And I remember growing up in my auntie's place when she took us in, like, I had that thought, like, man, I came to a broken family. Still had that thought, and my brother was all normal and stuff, and it still bothered me. And yeah, now we grew up, and growing up, and he has his first kid, now he's getting another one, and got to meet him, little Walter. And that was one of the good memories too. First time meeting him, and like, dang, he didn't know me, but the first time seeing me, like, he started crying, and I got used to it and stuff. Pride and joy. It's God show. Thank God for bringing these people into my life. Thanks God for bringing you guys into my life too. And this whole year was an experience. But I gotta keep that mindset, like, alright, man, there's more work to be done. Each day I think about that, and I remember getting my 1 month chip, and I went through the steps pretty quick with my sponsor here. It's like, hey, God, this is for you, man. Hey, what else do I gotta work on? Just keep on doing that. Each month I got something. Well, there's more work to be done. There's more work to be done. And there's more to be done. More things are being revealed today that I can handle, but I gotta give it out to my higher power and rely on the people in these rooms and people with a lot of time ask questions and keep asking questions, because I don't know everything. So,
and even all that work you mentioned is you're sowing the seeds for the future. You're talking about going to that basketball game with was it your nephew?
No,
Little baby brother. Yeah, going there. That was a product of all the hard work you had put in before. So it's just so cool to relate those, that even though there is more work that you're gonna have to do, it's gonna pay off. If not from some physical, like going to an NBA sort of way, your maturity and how you see life is improving. I mean, you coming in here today, you just seem so full of vitality. Like, you just have this energy about you. Like, you're excited about life, and that's so cool to see. I love when people have that feeling about them that it's just like man, they're just ready for the day, just whatever happens, you know. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, definitely.
Well, just focus on today.
Yeah.
Not tomorrow or the past. Mm-hmm. Not even for the past tomorrow and stuff. I don't know what's coming tomorrow. Might be sad tomorrow. Might be happy tomorrow. I don't even know. It's all up to my higher power. How I woke. Sometimes I have these dreams. Once in a great while now, these drinking dreams, and I freak out. Like in these dreams, I freak out like, oh, I'm drinking, throw the bottle away, and I think about my sobriety. Just all over again, and I wake up. Did it actually happen? It just takes me about 30 seconds to realize it's just a dream.
Or a nightmare.
Or a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, nightmare. Yeah. And I thank my higher power God for reminding me if I ever drink again, that's how I'm going to feel. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of reminders this year through family deaths, due to his disease, alcoholism. One of my cousins survived, barely survived. I remember I had about 10 months and she kept on calling me for that whole 10 months, asking me how I was staying sober. And I told her about the rooms I was going to and the 12-step program. And she said she wanted to do it, but that annoying word "but" showed up. Mm-hmm. But every time she said that, all right, call me when you're ready. Every time. She'd call me hungover or drunk. Call me when you're ready. And then I got a phone call that she's in the hospital. And because a week before that happened, she told me if she ever drinks again, she could die. The doctor told her. So she went to the hospital and ended up being in a coma for about a month and a half. Wow. And I went to the state fair and went to go see her. And I remember going into the hospital and seeing her, all the tubes in her and all that stuff, and it scared the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. And I remember thanking God for my sobriety, because God was showing me what would happen to me if I continued drinking. And I know that sounds mean, but she was being of service to me more than I was being served to her. Mm-hmm. So, okay, thanks for the reminder. Now, when she woke up, she video chatted me and she was weak and barely couldn't talk, and I had to be blunt with her. You are going to die if you continue. If you ever take one more drop, or it's not going to be a drop.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. It's not. Yeah. If you took one more drop, it wouldn't be a drop, and then you are going to die. Yeah, I mean.
More and more after that. Mm-hmm. You are going to die. Blunt with her. She's still with that butt word. Mm-hmm. She's staying sober right now through willpower and all that stuff. And I don't think that would be enough.
Not sustainable.
Yeah, not sustainable. She's staying sober, trying to stay alive instead of taking all these medicines. And I'll pray for her. Mm-hmm. I can't do nothing about it, because you can't save anyone who doesn't want to be saved and who doesn't want to help. Mm-hmm. It's sad, and all I could say is, by the grace of God, there you go. Yeah. And this last death was another reminder too. It's sad. Family was saying, "Why aren't you coming home for funeral?" It's like, I don't need to go home for the funeral. Mm-hmm. I already meditated and said my goodbyes, prayed about it, because I know they're going to be drinking over there. A lot of drinking. My family's a big ass drinkers. And I told them, it's like, there's a lot of turmoil over there right now, a lot of family problems with this, that, too, and I can't go home. Mm-hmm.
It's got to be kind of hard.
Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to go home for Christmas. Yeah. Because there's a lot of turmoil.
Yeah.
That's actually stronger on your part, because it seems weak when you go into these situations where it's like, well, if I had enough willpower, but it's not weak. It's actually stronger to know yourself and know the situation well enough to say, I can't do that. And it's not giving up. It's definitely, it's being smart about it. trying to outwit the cunning and manipulative disease of addiction. Well, you know, you get involved in a little guilt, and then you get involved in a little this, and then pretty soon, you know, that downward spiral could just happen so fast. So.
And I think that I was actually just talking to a friend about this yesterday. I mean, I just talked to one of my good buddies for about an hour yesterday, and he's not an alcoholic or anything like that, you know, but he's just saying, like, because he works out in California, and then he comes up, they're based out of Montana, so he'll come up and he'll be home for about 3 months, and then he'll be on the road for 9 months, and he's like, dude, like, I've been trying to just, you know, live a little healthier. He's like not trying to like quit drinking, you know, or anything crazy. He's like, so I'm like starting to go to the gym again, and I'm starting, you know, slow down on drinking and stuff again, you know. And he's like, but dude, like I haven't drank in 3 weeks, and like I know like when I go home, like I'm gonna be drunk this weekend, and like not like he doesn't have a problem with it, you know what I mean? Like he's totally fine, like he's just a normal person, you know. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, yeah, like that's. I think it's just like a weird feel when you go home, dude, especially when you go to places like that. Like that's just kind of the part of the thing you do. You know what I mean? Like I told him, like the place we're from is like a blue collar Montana town. Like you wake up, you work, and you know, you have a drink. You go out with friends, you have a drink. Anything you do, like there's gonna be beer pretty much anywhere you go. Like it's just a part of what people do. Yeah, like and it has a different feel to it when you're home. Because like in Alaska, you know, even here, like it's a lot of like, you know, the work hard, play hard, like people drink, you know, and it's like it's a thing people do. But like, especially like Soldotna, you know, or in Kenai, but like when I'm here, like I don't feel it. You know what I mean? Like I just don't feel like that like drive to be like, oh yeah, I should, you know, like this is cool, like I should get a drink, you know. I don't feel that. But then like the second, dude, you go home, it's like maybe, you know, like you know you shouldn't. And like you're not gonna, but like it just feels different, dude. You have an old identity that rests there.
Yeah, my identity over there was in the beginning when after graduating and going to college and stuff. I was a big influence with the kids, telling them about the traditions and stuff and survival and hunting and all that stuff. And like I remember every time I cut my hair in a weird style, kids would cut their hair too. They looked up to me.
Yeah.
Nice.
And when I started drinking, that's when the respect disappeared from their parents. Because I remember I went from big influencer to a drunk at the time.
Yeah.
And one of the families over there, I remember when I went back last year, for my grandmother's funeral, before I relapsed, I came back, and I remember going over there and people giving these weird looks like drunks back in town, like that looks. All the judgmental eyes, and I went about my day, so I was going to say goodbye to my grandmother. I brought someone along with me in the program. So if I had someone to go along with me this Christmas, I wouldn't be up there. They have their own family. So it doesn't mean I will be able to go home. I'll be able to go home someday. It's just not the right time.
Right.
Because
that's just smart.
Yeah, last year too. Last year I didn't even go home too. So I just stayed in the room, stayed with people in recovery, and actually watched them how they stayed sober in these tough holidays. Because I sobered up in a tough time. Sober when party starts.
Yeah. You got Halloween. Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Right. You're like, man, if I could just wait till like January 1st, new year, new me. Got this.
It was a big learning experience too. Learning from that, asking how you stayed sober. And this year, about 2 weeks ago, I got to go to Phoenix for a trip with my buddy in a program too. We went over there just to get away. We went over there for meetings and all that stuff and make good memories. Went to go see the Grand Canyon for the first time. So, pictures don't do justice on it. When I see it over there,
yeah, dude, this just reminds me, and I'll probably cut this out, what I have to say. There's a movie called Parks and Rec, bro. No, so there's a scene from Parks and Rec where Ron Swanson's, I don't know if you've seen Parks and Rec, but Ron Swanson's like super libertarian, like white guy with a mustache and like
the man's man.
He is the man's man. Super typical man's man. He goes, oh yeah, tons of bacon and eggs. Loves it. Yeah. And so he's like, crying's allowed at 3 times in your life. First kid, your wedding day, seeing the Grand Canyon. That's it. No, that's what that reminds me of. So now every time I hear people talk about going to the Grand Canyon, my first question is like, well, did you cry?
Almost.
Yeah.
Like, for real, almost. I almost did cry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, if I wasn't sober, and I thought about this, like, if I wasn't sober, I would see this.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to do travel and stuff. And thank God and people around me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And remember we were trying to get away from the snow, but when we get to Flagstaff, there was a lot of snow.
Like, come on.
Damn it.
Not. Another tear this time. Not because of beauty.
Yeah. I got to see good friends over there, family friends over there who helped me in my recovery and stuff, and got to catch up with them and all that stuff, and I see how they're doing. And friends who I went to treatment over there too, and they're still sober. There's like, out of 60 people over there in that treatment place, only 3 of them stayed sober. I was one of them who followed out and came back, and so it's good to see them.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the real friends I got to learn from. Even if I knew them for like 5 months, they called me, like, all the way from Arizona to ask, how you doing, man?
Mm-hmm.
Still sober?
Right.
And all that stuff. And when I came into recovery, my friends I had as a child, every day would call.
Right.
It's like not even one phone call, like, hey, how you doing? And one of my best friends, I still call once in a great while. He likes to smoke that weed, and he likes to get high every day, but I try not to associate him with too much.
Right.
Because I'm trying to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I still love him and all that stuff. I asked him if he's done it, and I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right,
I think there's like something to be said about a certain level of self-awareness. Either you're like, where you know when you're, and it's not that like, I feel like you're never gonna like, there's not an opportunity for you at some point in your life to like even associate with that person regardless, if they're using it or not, you know. But like at a certain time and place, dude, like some things just aren't, they're just not in the cards, man. They're just not happening. Going home, being friends with certain people, you know, seeing certain people when you do go home, even with like 2, 3, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, when you get to a place where you can go home, where you go home and you don't see everybody, you know, it's because you just got to kind of know. And obviously like a lot of like your meditation, self-reflection, prayer, all that kind of stuff kind of comes back around to help you know yourself a little better. But I just think like that's an important piece for, you know, people in recovery that are considering like either going home or like going to talk to this person, or, you know, these people you're trying to like, even sometimes making some amends like that could be difficult to people that are maybe still in it, you know, like knowing like when's the right time and place to like put yourself out there a little bit, because it's not without risk sometimes.
Because I remember when I first got into treatment and all that stuff, and going into learning recovery, I thought, because they told me the only thing I had to change was everything. I had to change everything. My friends, what I did, and all that stuff. And I remember thinking like, wow, I don't want to lose my friends though. People I partied with and all that stuff. Like, damn, how am I gonna make friends? And through recovery, I met a lot of real friends. Who doesn't use me for anything and all that stuff, and just be there for me and stuff. And we're all always having each other's back, and that's real cool. And
yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people forget, that you get to choose your friends. I think some people are really afraid of being lonely, so they just are friends with whoever, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you get super in-depth, try to becoming as kind of transparent with someone, really getting to know them. If you put yourself out there and they're not a good quality person who's worth being that level of friends with, it can really hurt you. And there is some people that are really good quality people you can be friends with, and there's some people with maybe you just stay acquaintances, but you have to have that balance and know kind of how much of yourself to put out there, because exactly boundaries, because if you don't, you'll be stuck with a bunch of poor friends and then feel like you have to keep them or you're going to be lonely forever, and that's not true. There's more people out there. It's hard to see that kind of locked in our own perspective. There's more out there.
I think part of that too is a little bit of like realizing like just some self-worth stuff in general, like like I'm worthy of having friends that are gonna have my back. I'm worthy of having friends that are like that I'm not gonna be lonely, because I know that like I'm a good enough person and I'm whatever enough, to be kept around, and like it's gonna be okay. I think that's like one of the things is people start to panic and think that like it's not going to be okay. And like as long as you kind of do things, like do the right things most of the time. I'm not saying you got to be perfect, but if you're swinging a solid 75%, you're probably gonna be all right. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna be okay. Like the world's gonna take care of you for the most part if you just don't completely like poo on it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That's one way to put it. I can't argue with it.
No one's going to hate you too bad if you don't hate them too bad.
Just a real quick touch on meditation a little bit more, because I keep hearing this more. I don't actively do it. I really want to start getting into it, because one of the connections that I kind of just made in my head is you're talking about, going through that phase where alcohol was in your closet, then it's in the refrigerator, and I feel like, internally empathy of like that, oh, I want to, but I shouldn't, but I want to, and you get really stuck on a thought. And whether it's like, oh, I shouldn't drink, I should drink, it's still about drinking. That's just stuck in your head. But with meditation, I mean, especially, I guess more of a classical interpretation of kind of observing thoughts going through your head and not attaching any meaning to them and just letting them go and just kind of observing them. I think you can train yourself to observe stuff like desires, like addiction desires, and work on letting them go instead of becoming just focused. Because I get extremely focused on thoughts. If it's something that I want that I know I shouldn't have, it will like consume me. It's just difficult to get out of my head. So I think that meditation has a benefit. It potentially could help you to stop from the downward spiral of, it's either I kill myself or I drink, because the insanity's got so far that you honestly believe that that's the only option. And you're like, well, I got to keep living. And then, which is logical and makes sense, but it's all these rationalizations over time, they just kind of filter down into that decision. Because I felt that. I mean, I know where that's at. It's just like, it's either this or that. And it's not, but if you get trapped in your own head, in your own space, and you're not, seeking the advice like you've been of these people who have been through it, and reaching out for support or resources that can really help you. If you get stuck in your head, I mean, you can get trapped there, and it's not pretty.
Yeah, it happened when I had that panic attack. I told you about that. I was in my head too long.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about it with someone in front of me, like another alcoholic or someone. Because they taught me if I talk about it, call someone, like just talk to them for 15 minutes and talk about recovery. And all of a sudden you forget that feeling.
Yeah.
The feeling that you thought about a drink, but I was in my head too long, and I felt like it was like I was in the darkness, and I almost couldn't find myself, find my way out until I meditated, calm myself down, end up seeing the light again. Because recovery, it's not always going to be an all sunshine and rainbow. There's always going to be a lot of troubles and trials.
Absolutely.
That we learn how to go through them. Just like what I said, by asking people how they have to do it. Sometimes you have to face your fears and head on. And in the book it says we have to learn how to outgrow fear and give it all to our higher power and stuff. And I never had anxiety meds, depression meds since I think my second month of sobriety. So 18 months ago, 10 months ago. And because it was suggested I learn how to meditate. And when we talk about meditation, I practice it. At first, it started only for 5 minutes. Like, I can't do it. So I learn how to do it. So build it up each time. It is practice. You gotta practice.
Super
practice and go to this place. Either way, and anything can work. Just meditate and pray, or just being quiet, sitting in a quiet room for an hour, listen to your thoughts. And that's those small thoughts you think about, like what's going to happen today, or you got to do this. I think that would be God conscious. I'd say that, because that small instinct you have, the small voice, you should not do that. This and that. That's to me, that's God talking to me, and all that stuff. And there's a lot of different meditations you can do. Absolutely. But the one I found out right now is working for me, so I continue doing that. Absolutely. And each day I wake up and pray to God, like, God, I'm an alcoholic, keep me sober, guide my thinking. And I lay there or sit down and meditate. And I go through my day. And when I forget to do that in the morning, my anxiety is like, pooh. And I was like, what's going on there?
Right.
That stuff. And to call my sponsor, like, I'm feeling restless, irritable, and discontent. And like, did you pray today? No.
Right.
Did you meditate today? And each day we have a reset button. We can reset our day any day. If I'm irritated, for example, right now, I can just be quiet and reset my day. Reset my day. Reset button. And meditation is practice. It's not going to happen overnight. Recovery is not going to happen overnight.
No.
It'll take a while, because this whole year, learning how to express my feelings and dig down inside deep. It's nothing happening out here. It's going to hurt me, but inside.
Right.
So it's an inside job. And I learned asking questions and talking about them and letting them out, crying, anger, working out, and all that stuff. Now, having a year sober is, I have to pass it on. Except an alcoholic person. The only way I can stay sober is to pass it on to someone. Because if I see someone and help someone and you see a light come out of their eyes, that's not my doing, that's God's doing. But seeing someone get it in recovery is it's beautiful. Like one of my close friends, Marlon Dow, he's from Anchorage, and he came to visit. And he told me we would drink for a week. And like, I'm going to my home group meeting tonight. You want to join? And he followed me, and he heard something in there. He kept on. So he comes every weekend. He's going to come this weekend. And he's been staying, and he shared his meeting. Shared, like, from his heart about how he struggled and stuff. And that got me teared up. It's up to him now. So, even my cousin, too, Ryan, and he's in the program, too, now. He went home just recently.
So awesome to see that transition, from you've had your own recovery and you fought hard for it, and now you're able to kind of help the next person and be the person that you've had these other people be for you, and support them and kind of lead them in a direction that from experience is tough, but it's worth it. It's worth it to have a life that's completely yours, to see beautiful things like the Grand Canyon or just amazing time with your little brother. Like, these are just like the highlights of your life that you didn't even know you could have. But now you can share that with other people. And I think that's the beautiful progression of recovery. Isn't just the self-growth, but getting others to grow also.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Because in like this whole year too, like I think about between mid 16 months, 6 months, because I thought nothing was changing. It's like, I still feel and all that stuff, but people can see the change in you. People see it, but we're focusing on ourselves too much and all the negative thoughts. We don't see what's changing in our lives and our perspective to see. And because the book asks us to look at life at an entirely different angle.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone pissed me off, I look at it very well. Person's sick.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone dies, I look at it very well. And each problem I had was, I asked God, all right, God, instead of saying, what am I going to do and all that stuff, and how am I going to get through it, and I'd be like, all right, God, what's the solution here? How can I get through this? Mm-hmm. Keeping them calm, mindful, meditating about it, praying about it, and
Awesome.
Sounds like this past year's been good to you.
It's going to keep going.
Yeah. Sobriety has been good to you.
If I continue what I'm doing right now, I might stay sober.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Oh, man, we believe in you. And we believe in you. If anyone's listening out there today that is ready to reach out for some help, is ready to change their lives for the better, or anyone that's just in recovery and struggling a little bit today, you can keep going. We believe in you. You can Google Serenity House, call the intake office, talk to Sherry. She'll get you figured out if you're looking to get into the program, if you're looking to get help. Thank you very much. This was You and I for the Kenai.